All right, howdy, howdy. As the title says, I'm going to be working on some type design today. I got a really cool project that I've been working on, and I'm just going to continue it. So here we go. All right. So this is our, I don't know. That's what I've been working on the past few streams, and I'm going to be look at the T. This I'm going to be working on some weights. So I did a light, medium is what I have designed already, and I'm going to make a bold. Um, so this is kind of what we're aiming for. It'll be probably make this variable. I'll try my best to keep it variable because I think that'd be super fun. Um, but yeah, I'm probably going to do. I don't know. I don't know which to do first. Uh, shall I do? I don't know. Let me see. Let's just go ahead and do bold first. So I was working on this test word, but I don't think that's a very good test word. I'm just going to do all these. I'm going to do them based on their like attributes. So this is a very horizontal straight, so I'm going to do all my straights first. This is crazy because this has to come out 4. I will probably, make it skinnier and stuff, but that's what we're sitting at right now. I think I moved that 20. We can always measure and redo this later. So what I probably will do for a lot of these is because these serifs are so different than what I have for most other things, I will probably take serifs like here. I'm just gonna copy and paste it over to here, and then we don't have to worry about having things that look different or that are disjointed. So it'll all be a nice little family, hopefully. Because after all, it is called a type family, right? Let me just, can I just combine that? Oh, well, I can't. You can just combine that. Okay, let me just make sure to chop all of this then. Oh wait, I was going to do this. I was just gonna aim for one side. I changed my mind. I think that'll be a little bit easier. And now we can do this. And then this guy was baseline. Yeah, that guy was baseline. And then we can just do this. And then that is half of an H. So we're gonna go Command C V, then just flip it. But then we can kind of decide our weight that way. So I think that this width is probably all right. It looks good to me, but I'm sure you can see a little bit of a problem with these serifs. So what I'm probably going to do is, since I set my side bearings, I think I'm just going to take one of these and just pull it in. And see if I can, is that fine? Oh, that looks really bad. I think this actually needs to come up a little bit. Yeah, okay. I know I could do like a component or whatever, but not, I don't really like working from components, so we're not going to do a component. All right. Earlier this morning, I did a little bit of research on this. Oh my gosh, what the heck? I have no idea what it's about. I want this Mac. This computer hates me, I swear. Yeah. I was doing some research this morning, and the like where I'm basing this is like a city, right? Just some cool street signs and unconventional because usually you would see like a highway gothic or something in this place. but you don't here. You see this random typeface, you know, like where did that come from? And so I was looking at who I could contact if anyone would be interested in like this project. And there's a few people. So once I finish this thing up, I think that'd be a really cool thing to like reach out to and see what people say, you know? So I'm working bold, so my shortcut will be Command 3. And so I don't want to. So, okay. Whenever you expand a typeface, you don't want to make it lose all of its character because you can easily just make a typeface that, that once you get to a different weight, you just make it bolder and it doesn't feel jointed. It's really easy to do that. And so my goal is to not do that. So we'll see how that goes. I probably could just chop that. I'm curious to see if my microphone's picking up my fan. No, it's not. So that means it's probably only showing up when I talk. So I don't know. Is it a win? No. And then I'll cut this too. And then, and the reason I'm not just copying and pasting this serif I did off the H because it would make sense because I can just delete these and have it. I'm shorten this in the center so I can get them closer so it wouldn't be so much negative space in the center of the H. And I've done stuff like that. For example, like the F, I pulled this serif out longer so that it would take up more room and so this space wouldn't feel so massive, just like the P. And that's like a little trick. In the R, you can even shorten this too if you need more negative space here. You can kind of get away with a bunch of stuff as long as it is like thought through, you know? And especially if you want something to be legible, you kind of have to do a little bit more optical trickery than you would want, than I would want, which is not much. So, yeah. Yeah. What's a good, let's see, I'm thinking of a good test word because I can kind of see how bold this is going to be. It's going to be bolder for sure, but I don't think it's going to be like a super bold. Like it's not going to be overly dramatic in how much bolder it is. I don't know if that even makes sense. So we have a hit. So we have hit. Great. Oh wait, no, that's. Oh, I can do lowercase. Oh, never mind. He hit me. I don't know. I think that is definitely bolder, but should we go even bolder? I don't know. I think as long as the bold is heavier, like significantly heavier than the book, that's what you're after. Because you're not going to be using a medium to highlight something. And it's already showing up different than the medium. So I think we're in a half decent spot. And I'll go back and make sure all of these are like correct. I don't know if that makes sense. But I'm going to remove overlap and make sure that it can variable because I think that would be a nice feature for this thing to have because I think it's going to turn out my intended use case which would be a street sign, which is a very odd use case, if you do ask me. Okay. So basically what I need to do is I need to take all of this and then just, can I just cut all this? Let's see. I can. So then I can do this. And then take this whole thing and get rid of one of two of these, I guess. Probably not that one, now that I think about it. Then get rid of these nodes. And then I can just pretty easily line it up there. And then that would, I don't know. I think that's bare minimum. Just confusing myself. And so this right here is only 76. So that wants, I want to get that up to 95. So we're just gonna have to pull all this up by 20. Except for that 90. I think that was 3. Yeah, there we go. And then I can, do this stuff. And this serif right here is like 60. And it needs to be at the 2 points, needs to be around at 80. So I think instead of making everything tighter, I'm just gonna pull it out that way. And then we shall see what I had here. 15. And then it's not clean, but we can at least get a feel for it. I think I even pulled these guys up a little bit more. Because a good example of one I already did was the T. So if you go 1, 2, 3, you can kind of see how I shrunk all the serifs. So my goal is to make them all longer. I think this is a good bit, maybe too long. Maybe too long. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be good. Alrighty. That already isn't looking terrible, so let me just do a little bit more cleaning. And we'll probably be set. I think this needs to come up, that's my problem. A little bit. Alright, that'll be fine. It's got a slight pinch to it, but I think that is I don't know. I'll leave that one. I don't know how much control I have over that right now. Nice, I was just editing my menu and not my board. Okay, that is my bad. Wow. I think I undid. That's weird. In the I never knew that, but if you edit it, and you undo stuff, it'll undo it on all your weights. So be careful. Because you can undo a bunch of work then. I didn't know that. Interesting though. Now I'm glad I know that now as I'm starting to work on more like multiple weight projects. Let's see, I got a new sub, Lions Type. That's cool. It's interesting to see what kind of crowd I accumulate on YouTube over here. Let's see. Is there another horizontal thing we can do? I think the E and the F would be a good one next. And then I can start to do my more like bowl stuff, more rounded stuff. I'll start with the O there. All right. So this is what I'm thinking, is if I just copy and paste this whole thing, and then I can just move this E over, and then did it once again. I just got rid of too much. And then do the same here. All right. Okay, so now this is where the fun part comes in, where I'm just gonna take a knife and just, no, that's probably not good. I want to chop it like perfectly there, you know? I think one off would probably be fine. Like, I don't think anybody's gonna complain. If it's too perfect, it just won't cut. It's too on the nose. Okay. So this is what I was thinking, is I can just take all of these and pull them in, you know, and then work from it that way. Okay. So I need to pull, and this will be good to create the F too, actually, because it'll, you know, it's pretty similar. All right, let me just fix this stuff real quick. This should be flat, and this should come over a little bit more. Yeah, just a little bit. And same should go for this. And then make them like flat into it, so it's a very nice, clean transition. So those joints are very important. And then, so this is 72. Okay, so this one I will make like 2 units skinnier. This is my thought, because this is already such a dense character. I'm worried that I'm going to just simply do too much to it. Just do this real quick so I have easier time looking at it. So 1, 2, and then that will be 92. So that'll probably be fine. And then this guy as well. Dadgummit. I selected a random handle that I did not want to select. I'm really trying not to make another Cooper Black with this. But once you get bold and round, it's really hard not to feel like it's Cooper Black. Yeah, that's definitely wider, so it'll be fine. And then this one is unique because I think these serifs should stay shorter still. So I'm not going to make them much longer. I think that both of these should be just a tad bit different. Only because this bottom might have a little bit less room. Okay, so a good trick to do here is, instead of making this wider, I could just pull all of this in. Just a little bit. And then that way, it'll feel nice. That way it'll, I don't know. It won't be so close. These guys, 65. Something tells me that's not right. Yeah, I gotta do them. Should I do 2 that way, or should I do? Maybe I'll do 1 on the outside and 1 on the inside. Make sure I don't have that selected, because that's not what I want to select. And then that. And then now I will probably have to fix this guy again. That's really tight. Let me go ahead and 2025. So since I kind of already spaced my medium weight all right, I use it as a good reference for like a bold or something, just as a starting point. I don't ever finish, like I won't ever just call it done, you know, with those side bearings, because they never look good, because you, like, these serifs are longer now, so it's just not gonna look as good. Yeah, it's just not gonna look as good. Yeah, well, that is an E for sure, for sure. Can I pull this in? That might be better, actually. I don't know. The only way to find out if that is decent looking is to proof it, and I don't want to proof it quite yet, so we're not gonna. Because I want to finish all these weights first. And what's cool here is that there is no lowercase in this font, so the amount of time it takes me to do a bold plus a book weight will be the same amount of time that it would take me to do like an entire regular font with like uppercase, lowercase. I haven't done any special characters yet, but that will be next, because at the beginning, like when I first started working on type, I was very much in the realm of, I'm not going to use that. I designed it, you know? And so I was like almost not wanting to like do all that work. And I was also scared because I didn't know what on earth I was supposed to do. And I watched a lot of talks, one by this amazing type designer called, his name is founder's name, I guess, is David Jonathan Ross, and that also happens to be his name. And I watched the lecture he did on just accents in general and what to take away if you're doing accents for a like a language you're not familiar with. And he was talking about how his trips abroad or just to a different country to see how they use accent marks, and his conclusion was basically people use accents in the same way that I guess more English speakers slash designers do with the tilde on the I, the little dot. And so he basically concluded the lecture with as long as they're there, for the most part, you know, somebody will be able to use them, and then if you have an email, then somebody can complain to you about how bad they are. And I was like, that is perfect. I just thought that was really nice. And yeah, but I later met him through Zoom, some type critique stuff, and he is so nice. I love that man. Yeah. If he's watching this, I'm sorry I was late to our Zoom call. Let me see. I think did the E and the F without even realizing that I was done with the E and the F. So I think the M and the N would be good ones to attack next. Okay. So what I probably will do is just take this whole serif and I'll just throw it, because this is going to be much skinnier. Gosh. Let's do the N first. I'll do the M last, I think, actually. One of the last, because no thank you. So this typically comes out two units. So that's kind of what I've been doing. When I say typically, that means that's what I've been doing for this font. And yeah, here's another serif thing. Serifs on the interior are longer here to kind of kill some of the negative space. And what's weird, because when you do those, they don't feel like you made them shorter, you know? It's kind of an odd optical thing. A lot of type design is optics. How can we fool people's eyes to make it look like it's doing something that it's not? But that probably wasn't right. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 4, 5. Okay, so that should be dead center, except for the fact that it's slightly not. But I don't think it'll matter that much because that was literally just one unit. I will leave that handle. And so here, this feels off. Let me see. If I put it next to something I've already done, let's say an H, and then look at them together, I think I still agree it feels off. I think a lot of it comes from the fact that I haven't done this interior one yet. It's a good example. This is perfectly symmetrical down this line for the most part. But it's just weird. It doesn't like that. So let me do this. Then that'll feel a little bit better. This one isn't one that I want to just like copy and paste. So what I will do is make this 0. This is kind of a trick that I figured out. It helps me a lot whenever you're wanting to have the same side bearing for like you want things to line up. I just set my whatever side bearing, in this case it's the left, to 0, and then just make it touch that line. And as you can see now, it's telling me -1, which means I overshot it just a tad. And then now it's back at 0. So that way these guys are perfectly lined up. And that's my trick. That's what I like to do sometimes. And I'm sure you could just look at the like your coordinates down here, but I don't like to do that because I design incorrect, I guess. So that's not my it's not so much my end goal there. I think as long as you design it in a way that makes sense, it's fine. Not make sense to other people, make sense to you. Because after all, who designed it, right? So I think this might work. We're gonna have to play around a lot. Kind of works. I don't know why. I do know why, but I'm gonna pretend like I don't just for a minute. But this looks skinnier than this. You can kind of see. And that's because horizontal thin strokes look skinnier than vertical thin strokes. And that is what we call BS in type design, because that is an optical trickery thing. And it is really annoying. Because when you design type, you find them everywhere. But it's not like it's the end of the world, because all you have to do is just make it wider. Then it's fine. Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you about what I have going on today that I'm excited about. I have a meeting with this man named Patrick King, and he is a type designer who happened to graduate from my university that I'm attending currently. And he is going to look over a font I have been working on for a while named Bookwell. If you want to go back and watch it, just click on my live streams on YouTube, and there will be some content on it. But I have been battling audio my entire live stream career, and I think it sounds okay right now. But I thought that the other day when I streamed, and I went back and watched it, and I was like, holy cow, that sounds terrible. So maybe take that with a grain of salt. And of course you're watching it, so you can just sit here and be like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. This audio sounds terrible. And to that I say I'm sorry. Okay. This is my favorite part of the N. I love that so much. Because usually they're so sharp. And making them rounded, just, it gives your letters just so much personality, I think. Okay. I did want to say this on another stream, but this branches. Usually you want it to branch a little bit further out, but this branch is really tight. And if you're looking at that and thinking, this guy doesn't know anything about type because of that, it's because this is referencing like street signs. So it's not like these are overall my designs. So this is called a revival project, and it's where you take lettering or fonts that got left in the metal type age, photo lettering, wood type, whatever, and you take it and you make it into a digital product, and so other people can use it still in this day and age, where the only way you can really use typefaces is through like just downloading them to your computer through a TTF file or something like that. And I just don't want to do my bolds yet. Let's do these guys. And so what I'm doing is, I'm sure whatever font they use for these street signs exists. What I want to do is I'm trying to emulate what it looks like after all these years of sitting out in the sun and peeling back and rounding off and really becoming really gross to look at. Like, there is no spacing consistency anymore. There's either a massive gap or they're touching entirely, and there's just so much personality there because of that. And so my goal is trying to replicate that feeling to me, which is of almost nostalgic, because that's where I grew up, you know? That's my place. So I'm assuming that's gonna be light. Yeah, that'll probably be fine. And then this space right here might still be a tad bit. This is what you can do, is you can just pull this up a little bit to get more white space. And you can look down here, the difference that makes for legibility. Yeah. So that's why I do that. And this will come down 1, and this will also come up 1. I think we're looking at 94, 99. Let me just fix that. I could do solid round numbers, but I usually stick to round numbers when I'm kerning and doing side bearings because they make more sense to me. And as long as you can get it pretty good, I think it's fine. I hope that it's fine. That's something I've never really like wanted to deal with, because if I give like all of my O's a 13 side bearing, I'm not gonna remember that, you know? It's just not gonna feel right. So I was kind of relying on more even numbers, like a 25 or a 30, you know? Yeah. But that A might need work later. Maybe I'll pull these guys down just a little bit more, because I did round that off just like, I don't know. Actually, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take this curve and just pull it down a little bit more. Yeah. I said in another live stream, my like thought behind this for these rounds is like, this is where a corner usually would be, and I'm trying to round them all off, but I'm trying to do it in a manner that feels like clean. Like in my mind, these are nice, like really round, bubbly curves, where I did an experiment the other day where I just kind of did the worst whatever I could possibly do to this font to make it feel like it's nice and warm. And yeah, but that's my goal for this, at least. I forgot something. I always forget serifs. I always forget serifs. I think it's just 2. So on the A, the trick with the A, whoa, that is a really nice looking serif. Holy cow, that thing is gorgeous. Oh wait, give me a second. I need to screenshot this. I don't know if you can even see what I'm screenshotting. No, you can't. But I do this a lot whenever I'm working on a typeface and I accidentally do something that I love, but I just can't keep because it's not in my, like, it doesn't fit, you know? Like, that obviously doesn't fit because these are extremely dramatic branching into the, which means it curves before the serif. Yeah, or bracketing, I think. Whichever. It starts with a BR. And that I know. But, yeah. So, yeah, the interior serifs on these, like A, V, W, it's going to be much wider than the serif on the outside. That's because you can get letters closer. Because if you had a regular length serif on the outside of this, all of your characters are going to feel so far apart. And it's not really what you want. You want everything to be happy and close together and consistent, especially. And then you would naturally think, why can't I just kern it together? It's because they would collide. They would run into each other and it wouldn't look as good. So if you just do it while you're working on it instead of coming back to it, it usually helps me because I always forget. And then I get to spacing, and it's probably just because I'm newer to this, but I always forget. Always freaking forget, like clockwork. Actually, let me fix that here. That was my medium. So I have it up here, whichever weight I'm selected. So I'm on bold right now, which doesn't change too much because I haven't done a lot of characters yet. I was just gonna see what I can do here. It does this. Actually, I am gonna do that. So what I do here is I just chop that, and then you can kind of go at it in whichever way you want, or you can do it that way too. But that way, yeah, because at the end of the day, that is what an A is. It is, or a V is. It's kind of just a flipped A. A little bit more revision because that was tapering, and I don't want my V to taper. Not a big fan of that on this V. So yeah, that looks fine. You can look at it here, and you can see the difference between the two weights. As you can see, this one's kind of more bubbly. It's very round. I am actually really excited to finish this because it's like a narrow version of Cooper Black, and not really, but that's what it feels of. You know, people are gonna ask, "Is that Cooper Black?" Um, and so to have something that I made that feels like a classic, really cool typeface is a nice feeling. Feels like I was able to utilize that recipe, which is some contrast, extremely rounded, a little bit narrow, chunky serifs, extremely bracketed chunky serifs, um, and apply it in a way that would make sense to me. Why is that like that? Oh, I did not know that. It's always good to check. I had that 15-15. That's because that's what that's what looked good on the A, and not the other characters. Okay, this is a little confusing. I will sympathize. I do actually want to chop this. Get rid of that serif. And I'm just gonna put 10 here. So whenever I do this, right now I'm looking to make sure that it makes sense as a bold version of the W that I have. And obviously it's not quite there, but I was more focused on the width. Because the W, the H, and the M will most likely be your widest characters, and if you don't get them correct and it's too wide, it's gonna feel really weird. So that, I just hit Command R, and that is just a rounding thing that I have, and it rounds my corners. And then I edit them, every single one of them, because I never think it looks as good as it could, you know? Like, it's a good starting point. It adds those 2 points, makes my life a little bit easier. What in the world? Okay, let me just do this then. Can I? Let's see how many. Nice, I accidentally closed it. Which is Command W, if you're wondering. Or, yeah, Command W. All I wanted to look at was if, yeah, it does have 2 points there. So that's my dilemma. So I don't want to get rid of them, because the problem with that is that whenever you go to make it variable and you have not the exact, like literally the exact same amount of points, it will not work in the same exact like manner. Like, they need to be this, meaning both handles will reflect perfectly, you know, or this, meaning that it's a corner. So both of them need to be that. There's a bunch that goes into it, and if you can just, while you're designing, stay cautious about it, it'll make your life so much easier in the long run, because you won't have to go back and do it. So who likes to do extra work, right? What I want to do is, I think I'm just gonna type V here. Let me turn my kerning off. Every time I restart my file, it turns kerning off. I don't think that picked up. I hope it didn't. I had a mic a while ago that every time I took a sip of anything, it sounded like the mic was like inside of my gullet, and it was not a it was not a nice sound, and I felt bad drinking, so I would, you know, stream and then get off and guzzle so much water, or in this case, coffee. Decaf, of course, because are you crazy? It is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not going to sleep. Yeah, if you're watching this exact moment to let me know that you care, let me know what your favorite beverage is to work on, to drink while you're working on your projects, whatever it is. I like coffee for type design, but I also like coffee for literally everything else. So this is gonna be weird for a minute. Let me do this. So this needs to come out too. This needs to come out too. And then once I center this, it'll work. I don't know about that weight quite yet. What do we got here? We have 93, 110. So this actually needs to come up and in a little bit, and so does this. And usually I keep that consistent by just going up and over one, because this is, you know, exact grid and these are on exact points. So it can't go like in the middle. It has to snap to something. So the slope of it will roughly be the same. And I'm not really going for perfection, so it's not that big of a deal if it's a little bit off, because it's going to be so, yeah, you're not going to notice it. It's going to be so small. Speaking of small, I was way zoomed in. This should come to like this, I think. Yeah, that looks better. So I'm kind of just eyeballing, because every character is different. And then these guys all need to come down to yeah. Let me make sure something real quick. I'm just gonna double check while I'm thinking about it. Okay. Yeah, just about exact. I was worried that the serif was gonna be off. This is a nice little ink trap I made by accident. Nice and bubbly. I hope that wasn't me swallowing. Okay. And then I'm not gonna make the serifs any longer on the exterior, but I probably will make them a little bit closer together on the interior, because they're friends. No, these I want them to be, and I think it'll look better. So this is weird, because this makes a sharp point, and usually the rule is like balancing handles, but sometimes I find you can't balance the handles for these rounds as good as you would want them, because you want it to look as round as possible, and this guy is coming at an angle which isn't like, you want your points to be at the like very minimum. So I could put one here and have it up and down, but in order to keep it like the way I want it, you know, I can't. And sometimes you got to make exceptions for yourself and just kind of come to terms with the idea that it's going to be a little bit harder to get a nice Bezier curve, which is what vectors are. Bezier or Bezier, whatever. There's an R on it. I'm American. I'm getting texts. Let me see. Oops. Okay. Sorry, I have a meeting after this. I was just making sure that it wasn't the person that I'm supposed to meet with. Okay. I think I could even taper. Yeah, so this is like the perfect Y, like according to math. This is what the Y would look like. But according to my little eye, this is so dense. This pocket is so dark, and it's going to color the page really dark, and all you're going to see is a Y. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to pull it down a little bit to get some more white space. And as long as we're definitely bold, there's no problem with it. And you do stuff like that to make sure your letters color the page as evenly as possible. And which basically means that every letter has roughly the same volume of, you know, letter, black space, and negative white space around it. Kerning helps with stuff like that. Yeah. And then if you get that volume nice and good, then you have a nice looking typeface. And that's not like a, it's not like an easy thing because it's an optical thing. Okay. I don't know if I want to do the X yet. Yeah, at least when I zoom out, the letters that are supposed to be bold look bold, which is good because that's exactly what I'm going for. Let me do this, and then I can work on these bolds here because, oh man, I had my perfect spacing strings. HHH. I never remember it, but you can hit edit and then add placeholder. HH, and it looks like I added a placeholder of an H, but if you just click on anything, it'll pop it in that character. And what I'm doing right now is called a spacing string. And the reason you use H's and O's is in any given typeface, really you can pick whatever, but in any given typeface, it's probably the roundest character and the most like straight character. And since there's serifs here, you're not gonna have a perfect straight, but that's as straight as it gets, so it doesn't really matter that much. Okay. I don't really know. I know that I went 1, 2 there, 1, 2 here, 1, 2, oops, 1, 2, and then I had this 2 as well. Does that feel bold? I think that weight actually feels about correct. But you know, my handles are an eyesore, so they might need some adjusting. I'm really trying my best not to make characters that much wider, because it is a little bit of a narrow typeface. Okay. So this is a really nice trick. If you select all the handles that you want on a given side, and you can select these and just hit Option, and it'll keep it perfectly symmetrical. And for most anything round, if it's slightly off, everyone is going to know. All the type designers are going to make fun of you at school. Because it's like, it's such a simple thing, but it's so easy to mess up. Let me 30. I do know that since these serifs are a little bit longer and chunkier, this kerning is going to be off here, but should look fine here. And yeah, I will say, I have not proved this yet. So some of these characters, if you're sitting there looking at it, you're like, why does that look like that? It's because I haven't done my job yet. So, all right. So I think I'm just going to chop it like I've been doing. And this way, we can get our handy dandy F plus the serif at the bottom, and make sure that the F and the P are roughly the same, because they are, in my mind at least, related. Oh, I love this font. This is so fun. A while ago, I made a. This was right when I was getting started, and I wanted to make as much junk as possible so I could learn. Because I learn best when I'm making garbage, because you can sit back and look at said garbage and think, wow, that's garbage. Why is it garbage? And that's where I improve. And let me do this. And then these aren't symmetrical because this bowl is an overshoot, whereas this doesn't. So I found that it looks best that way because I wanted it kind of be uplifting. But I made a font that I called Kobo, and what it was my two. I'm not gonna act like they're not my favorites still, but it was a combination of Hobo and Cooper Black. And what I did was I took the round from Hobo because it doesn't have any straights, really. Like, it doesn't have straight, it's kind of round. And so I applied that to Cooper Black, and God, was it terrible. And I remember thinking how hard rounded fonts are. And the reason why I tell you this is because I'm sitting here right now, sometime later, thinking the exact same thing. So, guess I didn't improve that much. Okay. I think that'll probably be fine. And then I want to have these guys come over a little bit more. Yeah, I'm going for that nice round, but it's hard. It's hard sometimes. That's okay. Because I think if you are struggling while you're making a font, that's gonna be a dang good font. You know, because it's gonna be your best. You know, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be your little baby. Let's see. How does the word poo? Ooh, kind of nice. I think that P is probably fine. I will come back to it later. I can't foresee myself not. But let's do. Actually, let's just do this one. I'm trying to think strategically on what I can do to. Okay. And then I have that. That's interesting. I didn't know if you copy and paste something and you have another thing selected, it'll just paste that instead. That's cool. I didn't know that. And then we'll do this. And if you're sitting there thinking, that's a very cumbersome way to make an exact looking P, you'd be correct. All I did was I wanted this serif to not to be long, so I didn't want to risk it looking too different. Like, I want, if things are going to be exact, I'm copying and pasting. That's just my quality control. That's just how I like to do it. And then get rid of this. And then also this random floating counterform. So this will, I'm going to get rid of these actually. So this will be our downstroke. Oh, or leg. Reverse. Okay, and it's gonna look weird right now, because it actually is weird. What it needs is me to pull this whole form probably up too, if we're being honest. And then that way we can do this, pull this up 1, and then take these handles and just pull them ever so slightly skinnier. And that way, it like, if you overlaid them, it would obviously be different, but it feels the same. Okay, so what was the fun part about the R? The other font. So that probably is all right. I'm gonna pull this up too. Let's do this. That's maybe actually I'll pull this back and just like that. Yeah. Oh, I'm so dumb. It's because I didn't make this wider. Like, why does that feel so weird? Yeah, well, that would answer my question. Not quite sure where to put this just yet. I think that maybe is all right. What did my other R look like? You know, that definitely is bold. And I just realized I only pulled that 2. This whole thing should come out 2 more. So you want it to have the same optical width as your stem. But since it's vertical, it's not gonna quite line up. I don't want to risk making it too bold. What I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna go to my background layer. I'm gonna get rid of all this, and that was just another version of an R I was working on. That's we don't have to talk about. And then I forgot to do this. And see. So what that does is it's just a backup of the character that I have, just so I don't mess it up. I really do want to keep streaming, but I cannot today. And here we go. We command all of these guys. And I hope, yep, that's the same amount of characters. So that's sweet. Or characters. Same amount of points in the R. Which is, as I talked about earlier, I want to keep because even if I don't get to why on earth? That's why on earth. Sorry. But I want to be able to make this variable. And I'm not gonna lie, to the people that don't know much about fonts, if you show them a variable font, they'll be like, Witchery, get out of my house. I think I need to burn you on the cross. You know? And I think that's exactly what I'm going for. If they don't want to shoot me down once I leave that building, I didn't do my job. That's a joke entirely. Oh, that R is cute. That's a button. I really like R's. Okay. As I was concerned earlier, this O should have more weight here. Yeah. I was getting lost. And I don't want my O to get lost. I want to know where it's at, which is in the same weight class. All right. I just want to do ever so subtle. And whenever you have it zoomed out to a certain width, it won't let you snap to the grid in the ways that you want. All right. I'm actually going to make a list of ones that I haven't done yet because I have BC, G, JK, and Q S U X Z. Because jumping from medium to bold is it's not as easy to tell the difference as you would expect, unfortunately. This Q is really up in the air still. I just don't even know. And then what I'm going to do with this, I think if I just pull the whole thing down 2 minutes. Yep, that was the right weight. And then what we're going to do here is that to give it that nice round we've been talking about all day. Nice. And I made this a little bit heavier right here and right here because I wanted to create more negative space inside right here. And I gotta remember not to forget to round these guys off later. Probably even... Yeah, that'll be fine. There's just gonna be less space. That's fine. Because I don't think it's a bad looking cue. I have an idea. Okay. Maybe this whole thing could come down a little bit. Let me just make sure I save that before I mess up my cue. It's not doing terrible, but it's definitely not an all-star flight. So I think if I do this, I can get a little bit more of this. And then what I really wanted to do was to see this would look like. So if I just lined this up with something like this, maybe even this, I don't know. It's not gonna look the best right now. Yeah. This is what Q is calling me, I think. I just don't know where I want it to branch from, you know? It's a pretty cool cue, I think. I think it's definitely much more unique than the other one we've got going on. I think this would have to taper a little bit more. But you know, that might be cool. Something like that. And the struggle with this is getting it to actually like fit in the curve. But I think that is a cool looking cue. Maybe I can go that far. And then on this one I can go. Oh, I can go really far on that one. That's probably too far for this one. I don't think it's the end of the world here. We'll pull it back in a little bit. Maybe that's cool, maybe that's not. I will leave it for now. I like how calligraphic it feels. Obviously it's really bumpy right now, but I need some TLC before it's a, you know, first draft pick in this typeface. Maybe tapering is a good way. How skinny does this need to be? Nah. I could always pull this whole thing down to give me a little bit more room. Yeah, that actually... Yeah, look at that. Now the problem with it is this. Does this make sense for a street sign? Let me... I have some reference pulled up. Let me just look here real quick. It's not quite the reference I was looking at. Let me pop over here real quick. I'm just gonna see what Highway Gothic does with their queue, because that is a. I don't want to do that. That's boring. They just have a single slash. Which in what world is that fun? So I don't know. I'm gonna leave that, and I'll come back to it later. I think on a street sign, that's a cue. That is a cool cue. That's a cool cue too. I won't look at it. I need to do other things before the stream ends. Okay. I could probably do B really easy now that I think about it. I just take all this, and then I come over here, paste it, and then I fix these guys so they're not. That's actually. Yeah, I think if I just do this, I can line it up easier with some other stuff. Yeah. And then I don't need. I do need all that. Okay. Just doing that earlier. Okay. Yeah, I don't think the cuts necessarily have to be like perfect, but okay. And then this will go to here. And then I will get rid of that, just because there's no need. And I don't even have it on the other version, so no point in having it here. And then and then this will come over here, and I will make this flat. And then this will come over here, and I will make this flat. This will come down 2. This will come down. This will come up 2. This will come down 1. This will come up 1. This will move up 5. This will move up 5. I don't think up 5 was right for this. I think it's down. Yeah, that was more correct. And then 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then that is the weight with a bunch of jank. So we're gonna smooth out the jank. Let's see what we can do here. Okay. Not that it matters too much because I don't think it's gonna line up anyway, but I'm gonna try to at least make it look like they're symmetrical. Yeah, that's not even symmetrical, so it's not the end of the world. And then that. I don't think that's a bad shape. Maybe this could come up more. Yeah, this come up more. Yeah, it's much better. And then this, I'm not quite sure. I think over 1 makes sense, but also I think that this could, if it comes in, this should move up a little bit, and then we can get a little bit of a light well going on. That's probably going to need some work later. It looks fine for now. Okay. And then this obviously has to come larger, because I don't want B to be top heavy. because that would be a sin. All right. And then I think I have this just like that. I don't know why this is like that. I think I know why I had it like that initially, but I don't think I want it like that anymore. Okay. I think that can actually do this. Why is this not? Okay. All right. Trying to make it look like this one, and I think all I have to do is this, and maybe a little bit of this. Not terrible. Trying to see what oh. And then I think that this needs to come over. Yeah. Okay. Let me go in here and actually I gotta fix my side bearings. 20 and 20. Maybe edit these and see what I boldened. Missing a good bit, but I do have a meeting here in a little bit, so I will have to cut this stream a little bit earlier than I usually do. I will be boldening later. I do not know when I will be streaming again, but thank you for tuning in. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you. Check out FusionType.xyz if you're interested in any work I have going on. But